The time between the 1920s and 1940s is considered Hollywood's golden age. This time period is considered as Hollywood's golden age because of the enormous amount of money the movies produced and the images of the glamorous movie stars that filled the movie screens. During this time, new movie genres were being made, new stars were being born, and the studio systems rose to massive status. The American movie industry was centered in Hollywood, California. Most movies were made in Hollywood because of its warm weather and its reliable sunlight, which meant movies could be filmed in the outdoors. Hollywood's golden age started when the first major feature-length silent movie was made in 1915. The movie was called Birth of a Nation. This movie was about 133 minutes long. It made a big profit of about $10,000. This movie showed the power of the movies in America. Movies became a big hit during this time because World War I was happening, which meant that people had free time on their hands. Mostly housewives and stay-at-home homemakers had time to see movies. And during the U.S. involvement, Hollywood made wartime propaganda movies. The 8 major studio systems created during this time were 20th Century Fox, Warner Brothers, Paramount Pictures, Columbia Pictures, Universal Pictures, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, RKO Pictures, and United Artists. These major studios produced 95% of all American films and released more than 7,500 films between the years 1930 and 1945. The studios produced about 1 movie per week, which meant that about 80 million people saw at least 1 film per week. Studios owned the actors and actresses because they had to sign a 7-year contract, which meant that the actors and actors were tied to the studio boss. If the stars did not want to participate in a film, the studio boss would add a year to the actor and actress's contract, which meant that sometimes stars would be with a studio for years. Some of the most famous movies created during the golden age of Hollywood were The Wizard of Oz, Rebecca, Gone with the Wind, Casablanca, Citizen Kane, Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, and Walt Disney's Fantasia. During Hollywood's golden age, silent movies were not a part of it. The last silent movie came out in 1931. The movie The Jazz Singer started Hollywood's golden age, ended the era of the silent movies, and was the first talkie. During Hollywood's golden age, the Hollywood film industry also introduced animated movies, color movies, and by 1930, 40% of cinemas had sound systems in them. Some of Hollywood's most famous actresses during this time were Marilyn Monroe, Irene Dunne, Katharine Hepburn, and Vivien Leigh. Some of Hollywood's most famous actors during this time were Henry Fonda, James Stewart, Laurence Olivier, and Clark Gable. Some of Hollywood's most famous directors during this time were Victor Fleming, Sam Wood, Alfred Hitchcock, and John Ford. Hollywood's golden age sadly ended in the late 1940s because the television was invented. which made the studio systems start to fall and decline their profits. But many of the things created during Hollywood's golden age are still used today, such as colored movies, animated movies, and the studio systems.